Hi, and welcome to this live reading from The Cruiser, The Hustlers Book 1 by Rowan Rossler, and this is presented by Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Chapter 1, Vandana. Every story starts somewhere. Mine, tragically, begins headfirst in a toilet. "Jesus, V, how many drinks did you have tonight?" asks Derek, my considerably less wasted husband. He's been holding my top-knot ponytail out of the line of fire like a concerned spouse should, but now that the worst is over, I hear it. The judgment in his voice. The lack of warmth. Maybe it's my imagination? Or the fact I'm hammered and not wearing it well. I'm panting and lightheaded, hugging the throne dressed in Balmain, $500,000 in borrowed rubies, and what's left of my pride. Thank God Derek got me home in time. If the staff of the Peninsula Hotel in Beverly Hills had found me splayed out in their lobby like a girls gone wild hot mess, I'd never live it down. I'm sorry, babe. I propped myself up against our bathroom wall to catch my breath. I don't know what got into me tonight. I just wanted to celebrate. Guess I went a little overboard? I muster a smile, but Derek's face might as well be up there on Mount Rushmore. That's how stony his expression is. "Now we know who ate all the caviar," he mutters, like he hasn't heard anything I've just said. He flushes away the final remnants of my evening and crouches down in front of me. "Come on, my little drunk. Off to bed." In one graceful flourish, because he's always balanced and even-keeled, Derek hoists me up. This is where we're supposed to hug, and I say thank you. Thank him for coming to a client launch party. Thank him for being by my side after coming home for the first time in 4 months. But his moody silence during the limo ride to the event keeps looping in my mind. How he kept checking his phone when he thought I wasn't looking. The kiss on my cheek in front of a client. There was no feeling behind any of it. The real issue isn't how many glasses of champagne I've had tonight. The real issue is why I grabbed every flute that went by on a silver tray in the first place. As I wobble on bare feet and scour the marble floor for my shoes, I feel the weight of Derek's gaze. "They're downstairs," he says. "You could barely walk straight. Do you want me to unzip you?" It's our routine. Me, forever in and out of gowns and cocktail dresses. Derek, always zipping me up and down. Slipping back into familiar territory almost makes me forget he was away for so long. But the look in his steel blue eyes, usually intense from thinking about schedules and conflicts he has to manage, is far away, and it has been all night. I want to chalk it up to the recalibration period. After 6 years of living with a first assistant director, I'd finally gotten used to Derek being away for weeks and months at a time on film sets. It's a pattern we've managed to work around, although it always takes a few days to get back into the rhythm of our marriage. But tonight, the distance between us seems greater than when he was halfway around the world in South Africa. We've been fighting every day since he came home last Saturday. Stupid arguments over nothing. Me not putting sugar in his coffee. That I didn't take his car in for an oil change like he'd asked me to. Switching up the brand of toilet paper. A big no-no, apparently. Not wanting to make a big deal out of anything else right now, I turn my back and Derek yanks my zipper lower. I wait for the usual boob grope or neck nuzzle. Nothing. Wriggling the beaded lycra past my shoulders, I pause. Inhale the scent that's been bothering me all evening. Don't. "Is that a new cologne?" I ask. "Yeah," he says, not meeting my eyes. I grabbed a random at duty-free. "Oh, Hugo Boss will be crushed. You've been so devoted." "I can have more than one." Now's not the time to dissect his use of a new fragrance, and the longer I look at him, the more fidgety he becomes. "What?" he asks, bristling again. "Nothing. Or maybe it's your long walks every morning without replying to any of my texts." Usually I visit Derek's film set once or twice, but his grueling schedule and my work commitments made it impossible this last time. The time zone difference didn't help either. His texts came in when I was asleep. Our FaceTimes were short, one of us inevitably having to end the call early. Derek insists it was just one of those jobs, and I'd considered believing him if it wasn't for his hair. He's rocked the same buzz cut for years. The ongoing joke has always been that he likes to stoke my Adam Levine fantasy because with cropped hair, Derek does look like him minus the tattoos and brown eyes. Except he doesn't look like Adam tonight, or himself. Bleached strands shoot through his dark brown hair, courtesy of 4 months in sun-baked Cape Town. It's longer, too, curling past his ears and onto his velvet tuxedo collar. Derek doesn't like hair touching his ears. Never has. If it's nothing, he says, then it's time to take that monkey suit off. He shrugs out of his Tom Ford blazer and dumps it on my side of the vanity, in which feels like a punctuating gesture. We bickered over him dressing up for the event, and only when I reminded him that I bought the tux for those specific occasions did he cave. I hope I lived up to your expectations tonight, V. Aside from the champagne overload, you were great. The queen of public relations, perfect, as always. His smile is as thin as the compliment, and when he turns to leave, I feel the night slipping away even further. Don't fall asleep, Kay? I ask, reaching for his arm. Let's cuddle for a bit. Having never been a cuddler, Derek regards me with a peculiar look. Might want to rinse off first, he says, wrinkling his nose. You smell a little ripe. The door bangs shut behind him, and boozy self-pity surges in my throat. If that's his version of a rally, we're deeper in the hole than I imagined. I'm the first to admit our once active sex life has seen better days, and a lot of it has to do with me, but Derek always promised he would never do back-to-back films, and then promptly went AWOL for 8 of the past 12 months. Since he's come home, the only action between us has been one half-hearted erection dozing against my butt. And that didn't amount to anything. Absence hasn't made either of our hearts grow fonder. I crank on the shower, ready to wash away an evening that refused to do me any favors. Under a blast of hot water, throbbing head resting against the tiles, I decide the tonic will be a great quiet weekend, just the two of us. There isn't much going on at work tomorrow since it's Friday, and I can leave early. I'll cancel Saturday brunch with my besties, June and Flynn. Derek and I can be together and enjoy our morning coffees in bed, laugh over some on-set horror stories he always comes home with and hasn't yet told me. What I crave is sheet-gripping sex, but that feels like a long shot. Step 1 is rekindling the spark between us. I can do it. Through sheer willpower, I'll turn this around. There is no calamity I can't manage. After the long shower, I bundle into a robe and find Derek still dressed and perched on the side of our California king bed. He's usually the first one under the covers, constantly telling me to hurry up. A beam of cold, slanting light from the floor lamp hits his face at an odd angle and makes it look like he's frowning. Because he is. Hard. Everything okay? I ask. Derek sighs and pushes the heels of his hands into his eyes. It's so quiet I can hear the TV that's still on downstairs and the gurgle of the fountain in the garden. We need to talk, he says. My legs, fingers, brain, everything starts to tingle. In couples vernacular, we need to talk means only one thing. Somewhere in the darkest part of my mind, this conversation has always lurked. Derek works with the most beautiful women on the planet, all of them vain and vulnerable and incredibly needy. He sees them at their most raw. And in various stages of undress, I read the script of Tangled Roots, his last project. I knew it was a starring vehicle for nubile newcomer Fiona Lynn Myers. Knew she'd be naked for at least 10 pages. 1 page of script equals 1 minute of shooting, and if the scenes need to be reshot, as the emotional ones do, I sit heavily beside him on the bed. It's Fiona, right? It's a stupid thing needing to know, but I have to. If we're going to end things, I could at least save some face if his fling is with a busty 24-year-old ingenue and not the weird craft services girl, or worse, a production assistant. There can't be anything worse, right? Derek's hands fall into his lap. He stares blankly at the Elizabeth Taylor Warhol print he bought from me for my 30th birthday. You have the same eyes, he'd said, soulful and beckoning. I love you, Vandana, he says, choking up. I need you to know that. I'll always love you. With the finality of his words, my stomach pitches. Do I know her? Derek looks at me straight on the way he does when he wants to make sure I'm listening, which, truth be told, sometimes I'm not. All I see are his blurry pupils washed with tears of pain and fear. It's not a woman, he says. Yep. Turns out there's worse.